Tacuba, and today we're talking about salsa. So first of all, what makes something a salsa? How do you get the definition of salsa?
Well, it's basically vegetables or fruit that they're cooked or even raw, and then you just like either emulsify them with some chiles, or they could be like a chunky salsa too, fresh, vibrant, like a salsa mexicana or any fruit salsa that you have.
So everyone thinks of salsa as being with tomatoes. Does salsa have to have tomatoes?
No, not necessarily. Well, there you can do green tomatoes or not at all.
So really, a salsa is just like anything you want it to be that you can like dip a chip in.
I think for me, basically, what a salsa is it has to have some sort of a spice to it, you know? Out there's a lot of people that they don't like to have a spicy, don't eat salsa.
Right. Have something else.
Right. I mean, yeah, there are some salsas that they're mild, of course. You know, a lot of people they don't like the whole spice. But to be perfect to make a salsa is just to extract those chiles, the flavors of those chiles, and make them into a whole component. You know, so you don't taste the spice, but you taste the flavor.
Right, so it's almost like a salsa is anything that has that chili flavor imparted onto fruits or vegetables.
Right, exactly.
And so when we think of salsas, obviously, you know, we have three in front of us. There can be this textural difference. You can have chunky, you can have smooth. What is the difference in making a smooth salsa versus a chunky one?
Well, the chunky is just basically cut vegetables that, you know, you can. It has a crunch to it.
Yeah.
It has also some, you know, sour, salty flavor to it. A lot of herbs, maybe cilantro, basil.
Right.
Depends, oregano, whatever you want to put in them. And the smooth salsa, you can do it either raw, that you can just blend it up together.
Yeah.
Or it could be cooked.
And when you're trying to get that texture, are there certain things, you know, when you're thinking of the chunky, is it important that the pieces are small, you know, because you're trying to get it on the chip? When you're doing it smooth, you know, do you want it to be totally smooth or have chunks? Like, what advice do you give for people trying to think about the texture of their salsa?
I think as small as you go, it's easier to grab with a chip.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but a professional salsa lover, it doesn't matter, you know?
Right.
Either big pieces or small pieces, but I recommend just to do it, you know, bite-size and smaller pieces. That, you know, that you can grab you know, like the chip, you can use it as a spoon.
Right.
So that's how you basically do it.
And for a traditional salsa, for someone who wants to be really classic and do sort of what the basic salsa is, what are the ingredients that you need?
Okay, well, you can do a variation. I mean, salsas are so versatile.
Yeah.
You know, the ingredients that you make for a salsa mexicana or pico de gallo, that is the traditional salsa. Tomatoes, onions, garlic, chiles, some lime juice, salt, and then just either make them chunky or just blend it. You know, jalapenos or whatever. You can spice it up with whatever you want. I mean, in Mexico, we have so many different salsas that we can talk here all day.
Yeah, let's talk about adding flavors, because I think, okay, you know, typically you're starting with the idea of chilies, you're often starting with tomatoes. What flavors can you add in that you think complement chilies?
I think acid bring, you know, the flavor of the chiles a lot, and also some sort of a fat to it, like a vegetable fat, like an avocado, for example.
Yeah.
So you want to balance that flavor. You don't want to have that chili smack in your face.
Right.
But you want it to extract all the flavor that it has.
So with, you know, when you say something like an avocado, does that help to balance out the chili? Like you want something that has a little bit of that sort of unctuousness to sort of balance out?
You can, basically avocado is it's natural fat. So it's really good for you, and then it just makes your salsa smooth too. You don't want like a, you know, liquidy salsa that is just dripping all over when you pick up a chip.
Yeah.
Or a taco or whatever you want to do, you know? So it's important to have some sort of a balance between, and if you don't want to add avocado, you can add some olive oil.
And what about different types of chilies? What are the different chilies that you like to use in salsas, and sort of what do they combine well with?
Oy, then you can use
endless.
Like we
the
use a lot.
question.
And this kind of salsas I use only fresh chiles, but you can come up with all these kind of different dry chiles that is there in Mexico. So here at Tacuba I use 15 different kinds of chiles, dry and fresh. So you have a lot of variety that you can use. I mean, the dry chiles, you have to use them differently. You have to treat them differently.
Yeah. What are some of the chilies that you think are easy for people to get at home? Because obviously, you know, it's like, what can people get in the supermarket that you think
I
is
think
easy?
fresh. I think fresh. You can have them, at home. Buy a few jalapenos, a few
Yeah.
serranos,
Right.
or some habaneros if you like spicy.
Yeah.
And then just have them there. What I do when you buy too many, I just put them in the freezer, and then you just bring them over. You pull one at a time. You cook them and stuff, and they stay well.
And what about other vegetables? Have there been sort of surprising vegetables that you've added into salsas that you wouldn't have expected?
Yeah, I mean, you can add, fennel or, zucchinis or something that is just, different. A lot of mushroom salsa. I love mushrooms, so I always play with that.
Yeah.
So it's just a variation of whatever you like,
Yeah.
and then you can make your own.
And a lot of it is obviously the ratios. How do you ensure that you're getting sort of the right spice, the right amount of one ingredient to the other? I mean, how do you typically approach it?
I always try to, when I make a bunch of salsa, I always go heavy on the spice or on the peppers. Let's say we have chile serrano or jalapeno. So I know that 4 or 5 they're too many, but I'm gonna
Right.
cook them, and then
Right.
I'm gonna start adding little by little, one by one, until I get the right spice.
Well, thank you so much for having us here at Tacuba
pleasure.
and talking about salsa. And obviously, if
Thank
you
you.
don't want to make it at home, you can get it right
There you
here.
go.
There
Yeah.
you go. Thank you so much.